Hey, this is Jackie, and I got an interesting video for y'all. So I've been working on this little project right here, um, pretty much explaining since my interest is in League of Legends, and also outside of League of Legends, I'm also interested in data analytics, including visualizations like Tableau. I wanted to mix um, I wanted to make a portfolio project right for Tableau covering the LEC 2022 Spring Split Playoffs matches, which are total 30 games between the top six teams of the region. I know right now currently MSI is going on, but taking data from MSI when teams are like there's too big of a skill gap, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying? Um, Maybe I will, but later, once it's like the Rumble stage, or maybe only when it's playoff stages only. But I'm just gonna go over kind of like everything that happened during the LEC 2022 Spring State playoffs, where G2 made their miraculous one, and kind of showing through statistics why, quote unquote, they made their run. So looking at the pick and ban percentage, this is like the perceived meta, right? So I think the patch was played on 12.5, right? And they had like a long time to wait before they could start because they wanted to not be too early on MSI because I don't know. But I just remember it was like a 3 week wait, and it was actually pretty long, right? So, I think when you think about pick and ban percentage, having 100% or like even like a high presence is like kind of crazy, right? When you look at all these champions, but Heckground being one of them, having 100% pick and ban is crazy. LeBlanc is low key underrated, crazy. Zeri, of course. If you don't know, Zeri is like the second new champ, 80 carry, very, very broken at the time. I'd say it's like pretty much better than every single way of an Ezreal. Like there's legit no reason to play like a champs like an Ezreal when Zeri exists. And then you have like 90% like Twisted Fate, Jace, Jinx, Aphelios, kind of like the top ADCs. This was like kind of a constraint, like quote unquote ADC meta, but I kind of want to explain why maybe they weren't the best. And then you have like the top junglers outside of Hecarim. It's like Volibear. Nara is just a good blind pick, I would say. And then like Caitlyn was actually low key coming up, but I think teams weren't that comfortable playing with Caitlyn because it kind of does take a lot of skill. And I mean, you have your typical Camille, Rakan, Nautilus, Renata Gloss, the newest champion, and then some of the like low key sleepers like Jarvan, Lee Sin, Viego, Lucian, Zaya, and then even more sleepers like Ari, stuff like that. And then all these are like kind of like low key picks, low key counter picks, or like low key OP picks. So like I'll kind of explain it more, but we'll see how some of these champions walk up. But just to let you know, like obviously most of these champions probably suck or should not be played, other than maybe Malphite. Malphite could have been picked in some situations, right? I think Cassiopeia is not that bad in certain situations, or like, and Kennen's not like a champion people play, but Kennen is pretty good, but it's not like it's more like a Asian champion. Usually you see a lot of Chinese players play it. Korean not so much, but a lot of Chinese people do play it. And then stuff that's fallen off that used to be picked all the time in the regular seasons is Zhao, Rise, even Diana was played quite a bit. Trinamir was played quite a bit. So the meta has definitely changed, right? And now we're gonna look towards the win rate, which is pretty surprising. So obviously the 100% win rate maybe we shouldn't look at. I mean, like I really have 100% win over 2 games, and like Olaf and Pike, I think is kind of credible, especially Pike. I think Pike is low key underrated right now. But all these other champions, I think they're just good in like just one situations. Actually, I think Misfortune is low key good, but it's just stuff that people aren't used to, or like Misfortune is low key like a born champion. Um, but now we're starting to get into like champs that are like more played. Um, Zeri, 83% win rate, 6 games played. So yeah, it's not a lot of games played, over 30 games. But if you think about how often the champ was banned, or like in the pick ban presence, I mean, it had a 100%. So the games that did go through, right? I mean, champ is obviously OP, right? And same with Renata Glass. And I think going towards MSI also, Renata Glass is, I'd say, pretty OP actually, with like stuff like what's that champion? Samira. I mean, you don't see Samira in this meta, but I believe Samira is buffed and looked upon as a good champ later, but we'll see. I mean, Ornn has an 83% win rate. Yeah, maybe not as much games played, and like not a pick ban presence, but like Ornn is like low key sleeper OP, especially against like the top meta. Like I think Ornn had a good matchup versus like popular champions like Jace, Gnar, stuff that was like getting picked very often and no one really like understand, and people really don't know how to play the current Ornn, because Ornn, ever since the item changes, is a lot different to play. The way you build your items, the way you power spike, it's a lot different, But like typical supports that maybe you want to see, let's look at the roles, right? So I could click right here, support. So like let's look at supports that are picked more often, right? We got Renata, we got Rakan. On my 11 games, 81% win rate. That's more top tier supports. And then you look at like the typical melee supports. I mean, 23% win rate over 13 games. 6 games and only 16% win rate, and then 4 games with a 0% win rate. That's actually kinda bad. And then you have your like Lulu, your typical Tahm Kench. I mean, they're played pretty less often. Lulu was played at least 4 games, but yeah, these games, I think Lux was only played with Caitlyn, I believe, and then Tahm Kench, I'm not sure when they played it, but I mean, you can't really go off results over 2 games. But I mean, Braum was actually pretty decent. I believe they played Braum versus I'm not sure what 80k we was paired with it, but I believe they played it against like to just disengage, because out of all these supports, it's probably the best disengage support. That's like more team fighting over than like Tahm Kench is like he can disengage one person. But yeah, I think looking at the meta, I think Renata's pretty okay. Just from watching the games and just playing solo queue in general, and then Rakan also. I think the damage is so high in the game, where it's like you probably want something that can engage even more harder with like more of a guarantee, because most of these champions are like skill shots. This you just speed through and run through it, and then just you run out. Because either way, I mean, most of the champions, like the damage is so high in the game, you probably die in like one rotation. Maybe not Leona, but like I don't think Nautilus, Thresh are really like tanky champions. They're actually really squishy. So it's like, why you might as well just play a champion that has just way more mobility and way more like follow up, right? So I think that's why. And then like Karma's only played 1 game. I mean, I would say Karma's like low key kind of good, but I think when you think of EU meta, most people don't actually like playing range supports. I mean, you could see right here like Lux, Lulu, Karma, even like Yumi, not really played too often, but they're good champs, right? They're just EU meta. They just like melees, So champion code gold per game, and looking at kill participation, champion gold per average is like pretty much how much is like funnel to them. Obviously, this could be a skewed stat, right? But usually you're looking at champions that like look to like farm and like hard carry. Looking at like stuff like Corki, Lucian. I mean, they had like, I mean, like, let's say Gangplank. Like Gangplank usually should have like a lot of go, but was only played for like 4 games, and like the win rate on the champion was probably not that high, I believe. Well, it looks like a top lane, right? I mean, Gangplank was like at 25% win rate, so even with like all the gold, he wouldn't really do that much. But I think the reason why, honestly, looking at the games, I think a lot of people were kind of bad at Gangplank. I think just Western players in general. I think Gangplank is probably one of the hardest champions in the game, so like it probably is like noted that like the champ actually just sucks. Um, if you're just not good. I mean you saw like play with Wonder, right? I think Wonder played it a lot, and like yeah, sure you got the double kill on like G2 on that second game. I think game two, but like you could tell he was like low key sloppy, and I don't know. It's just like it's such a hard champion. Now that like you go the crit based build and like you're more squishier, but like there's more reward in hitting your barrels. It's like I don't know. Champ's actually really hard. It's like one of those champs. Like, is it worth putting time in? Like Vel'Koz, Zed. I think champs are like actually OP, low key, but like no one wants to put the time in. Stuff like that. So, um, so pretty much kind of like what you want to look at the stats is like pretty much how much average goes. Obviously, when you look at deaths, you look at supports, but like I mean, like this Aatrox game. I mean, this Aatrox was legit useless. 8K gold. I mean, 1 game, but like still. And then, I mean, you just look at how much gold is like funneled to them over the course of like certain games, and I don't know. Once you look at like their win rates, like let's for example, like stuff that sticks out is like Philios and Jinx. They're played like often, and like they had the gold to like do stuff right. But if you look at their win rate, actually it's actually not that good, right? You look at who like won the most. It was actually obviously Zeri. Misfortune, that was just 1 game, so we're not gonna count that, right? But like you look at the meta, obviously Zeri was picked and banned 100%. So even when you funnel so much gold on her, yeah, she's gonna carry him. Xayah was actually sleeper OP, second best 80 carry, I would say. And then like Caitlyn was like pretty decent, but you can't really go off that because it was 3 games. As Caitlyn's really situational, but is good. I think good versus Xayah, right? But I don't think people play the Caitlyn versus Xayah matchup that much. But then you look at these 80 carries. I mean, you're telling me 16 games played. There's 30 games total, so played more than 50% of the games, but only has a 31% win rate, or like games that are played in 22 games out of 30, but only a 40% win rate is kind of questionable. And honestly, most of these champs probably don't have the greatest kill pressure against Xayah, and Xayah was just actually like the 80 the poke Xayah variant is like actually like was so OP, but people weren't like on it. Honestly, I feel like G2. That was the main reason I thought G2 won, because they're on the Xayah meta and they're on the Ornn meta. They're just abusing the champion. You could tell because like BB probably was playing his best series ever, but that was because he was playing Ornn, and then like Flakked was playing really good because he was playing Xayah, and Targamas looked good because he was playing Pyke low key, and like I think he was playing a lot of Rakan also. So that was like, it's just like really good meta reads in my opinion that are like actually good champions, where other people were just playing like weird like prioritizing Jinx Aphelios all the time. Always prioritizing like Nautilus Leona, or just like bad matchups, especially like this matchup right here. Hold up. So you're telling me like TF was picked and banned and picked 5 times, had a 90% presence in pick and ban, right? Picked 5 times, banned 22 times, and has a 0% win rate. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's like this champ is actually disgusting. And same with Rise too. The champ is pretty disgusting. Yeah, it's only played one time, but like the pick and like I don't know. Rise is like at least they knew Rise was bad, and Rise keeps getting nerfed, which is kind of crazy. But like the TF like hype train was so bad. I was actually pretty like not a fan of Fnatic against their series against Rogue where they were up 2-0 and then they picked TF 3 times in a row. I was so disgusting, and just keep seeing like the champ being picked all the time in MSI is actually kind of crazy because the champ actually has counters. Like I'm not saying the champ is like bad, but it's the way it's picked. Like it's always first pick. Same with Rise, it's always like first picked when they. I mean, in reality, the champ has counters, and the champ can be shut down. So, yeah, I was not a fan of it, honestly. But, I mean, this can also tell you, like, a lot of things, right? Kill participation. I think also, like, Yanko's playing, like, beyond the Jarvan meta, I think Jarvan was actually pretty insane. I feel like Jarvan did a lot. But other than that, you can't really... I mean, kill participation is like kind of like a whatever stat, right? It just tells you how like certain like this is more like for like the supports and like the junglers how impactful they are, over some course of games. I mean, Hecarim was definitely like 74% is pretty good for champ that farms, right? Over 7 games, that's pretty good. So like obviously Hecarim was definitely a good read. Jarvan was definitely a good read, but a lot of people weren't playing Jarvan. He had like a 50% presence. Volibear was actually really good, yep. And then obviously Rakan Viego was like alright, I think, but it's not as bad, right? And you have like some of these. I mean, obviously when you're looking at 80 carries, tops, and like some mids, you don't expect them to have the greatest kill participation because they're not necessarily they're like on the island, right? But I mean, let's look at kitty and gold percentage, right? So, I mean, obviously you can exclude like some of this. Like, I mean, the games that Karma and Yumi were playing, I mean, they're situational, right? I don't necessarily remember what game they were played in, but they're actually pretty good. I mean, if you have this high of a KDA, you probably was a stomp in some ways. But I mean, looking at like Ornn, I mean, his gold average isn't that high, right? It's like whatever, but Ornn's like a champion who wants levels. But the fact that he had levels and had like a high KDA means like legit the champs that people were playing top had no counterplay, actually. Like let's look at top, right? KDA. Significantly, actually very, very significantly higher than any other champion. And 6 is like a decent number of games played, right? I mean, you look at Gnar, KDA is 3.58. It's not terrible, right? It's 4th highest, but I mean, you're looking at the average gold that the champion has, and the champion is just more effective. Like, it didn't seem like any of the champions, like you see any of these champions, you really can't shut down Ornn, right? Like, Rumble was an option because Rumble, like, Ornn kind of has no mobility and has to, like, sit in the Rumble R, right? So Rumble could be, like, an option, right? But he was only played 2 games, I believe, by only Odoame from Rogue. So I think that's what they're trying to look for, like the boost of like Rumble versus Ornn in the finals. I mean, Jax has played only 3 games, but Jax is usually only played against like Aurelia, Tryndamere, I believe, because Tryndamere had 3 games too. So I assume Jax was only picked when Tryndamere was picked. Maybe I could be wrong, but I mean, the KDA is actually insane. Like, Ornn was by far the best champ in top. Just in the LEC in general. I mean, I think the way Ornn shit on Jace, it was actually disgusting. I mean, I think really has a good matchup, and Gameplay does have a good matchup with Ornn, but people don't know how to play these champions, and they didn't have it in the kit. Usually, on average, most pros only have like like 4 champs that they play and competitive on each patch, right? So and like picking Gangplank, I really like kind of have to be really smooth on it. So like it probably felt uncomfortable, but if you pick champs that are like everyone knows how to play, like Gnar, everyone knows how to play like Camille kinda. I mean, you're not gonna win these matchups, right? I mean, Tryndamere gets shit on by Ornn too, so I don't know. It's actually disgusting how Ornn was like such a low key presence and nobody really knew, and it was so crazy because like Ornn has not gotten buffs or nerfs ever since the item rework, and he just randomly came up in playoffs as like a counter pick instead of like coming. I don't know. It's actually kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, also you can filter. Oh, hold on. Is this a filter? Oh, this is a filter for this. Actually, my bad. So I might not put a filter for this, but yeah, gold share is quite important. Like if you think about it, Jinx having 24% of the team's gold over 16 games. I mean that's pretty quite a bit. You're funneling a lot of gold. You're funneling a lot of gold to like these types of champions, right? Ryze, Yone, Lucian, like champs that farm. That's not what we are, right? But like you're funneling this much gold and you're not really winning. It doesn't really create results. It's kind of alarming, right? Probably means like the champs like low key over nerf, and like some champs like Jay's. I mean, Jay scales with levels more than gold, right? So I mean, you're just looking at a lot of other stuff. Like if you have like around like this mark, I mean, you're getting the gold of the game. You're getting like the average amount that you're supposed to get per your team, but you're not really being effective. It's kind of like unfortunate, honestly. And like champs that like don't have a lot of gold but are still like effective, like Volibear, Jarvan. I mean, obviously you're looking at the junglers, right? These are like the jungler supports, and then usually these are your carries because you're supposed to funnel more gold into your carries. But I mean, it just shows you how like the effectiveness of like some meta reads were, and like overall, I think you could tell like G2 was ahead of its time. I think just looking at like KDA, like let's look at other supports, right, or other rows. Ahri has the best KDA. Most played Ahri was played by Caps. Caps literally locked in Ahri, and Ahri dumpsters TF. People like it was so crazy to see like Ahri get free picks against TF and like they disrespect it. It was actually kind of crazy. And then also Silas too. Silas is actually low key like sleeper. Not even just against like TF, but also I think Silas is pretty decently good against Ahri, but I don't think the matchup was played that often. And then you look at the typical like Ori. I don't know. Ori's like whatever to me. But looking like some of these matchups, I think people were trying to play Lissandra, but I don't think Lissandra's that good. Even against like LeBlanc, who had like 100% presence. Where is LeBlanc right here? LeBlanc was played 9 games with the KDA like that. I mean, it doesn't seem like she's carrying the game. So maybe like if you even look like this, maybe Ahri was more of a presence and more like better than LeBlanc. But maybe people, because I don't think LeBlanc Ahri was a matchup that was ever seen. And the matchup between LeBlanc Ahri is like super skilled, so like it's kind of like risky to play that matchup, okay. But yeah, all these other champions like Victor, Syndra, Kali, Vexo, Kai'Sa Pro. People that are playing Kai'Sa mid were actually trolling. Like I think Humanoid was playing so bad because he played both TF and Kai'Sa mid a lot, and it was actually like disgusting to see. These champs actually suck. Like I'm just letting you know. Like that's why I think Fnatic like lost really hard because they played GP, Jace a lot. They played TF, Kai'Sa a lot. It was not good, and it sucks because I think Razork is the one that's getting benched because of it. I don't know. It's actually kind of sad to see. But like, yeah, pretty much I got this, and then looking towards this is like the pick and ban. Obviously, if you don't know how pick and ban works, it's blue side first. Blue side gets the first pick, and then red side gets second 2. Blue side gets this, and red side gets their third pick, and then another ban phase happens, and then red side gets their 4th pick, blue side gets their 4th and 5, and then red side gets their 5th pick. So this is kind of like seeing if like quote unquote, oh, did the champion get banned, or not necessarily like, did the champion get banned, or like was there like a reason why certain champions didn't work because they got counter pick, right? So if you look at like kind of the first few picks, nothing really stands out. I mean, you're picking Zeri first. Zeri's blue side, obviously Rogue's gonna win because you let Zeri through. What a surprise! I mean, you're picking Caitlyn, Lee Sin. These guys are. Oh, he picked Zeri, right? But still lost. From red side, which is kind of crazy. Red side first pick is Zeri, and you pick Caitlyn. But I think Caitlyn does, because Zeri's really weak in lane, so maybe that's why the option was there. Like pick Caitlyn versus Zeri. Maybe that is like a way to win, but I mean, I think Caitlyn was only picked by comp. Actually, no one else played Caitlyn other than comp, which is their ADC from Rogue. So maybe that was like an option, but okay. And then yeah, see Caitlyn Lux, you see paired together with Jarvan, so they're on the Jarvan train low key. Rogue, yeah, because they're blue side. Misfits were playing blue side on these 2 games, which decided to pick Xayah, Lee Sin both games. Interesting. I mean, LeBlanc was light through on blue side, which got that their only win. Picking Lee Sin, Xayah, LeBlanc, Rakan, Camille. I mean, this comp is definitely OP because you got OP champs. You got Xayah, Rakan. Lee Sin's like alright champ. LeBlanc's obviously 100% pick ban. And then, I mean, you're playing Camille versus Jace. Camille Jace is like pretty skilled. Maybe even more Camille favorite. And then you're picking like, bro, you're picking Nautilus. Kai'Sa. Oh yeah, this is a Kai'Sa mid game. Yeah. I mean, you deserve to lose, right? Because you picked Kai'Sa mid versus LeBlanc. Yeah, that's a good matchup. And you had red side last pick. That's actually disgusting. So yeah, that was kind of like why they lost that game. I remember actually. Fnatic. Both. This is the first game where G2 lost, right? Both sides. Fnatic played. Blue side first pick Zeri. Alright, you probably already lost because you decided to give him Zeri first pick. I just remember LeBlanc was played, yep. But then they countered what was the Sandra. Okay. I don't know. When you look at Fnatic, you're giving too much OP champions. You're giving them Zeri, Viego, LeBlanc. What is this? You're giving them 3 OP champions. And then Camille Braum. And then you have what? This game, you only have Aphelios, Gnar, Nautilus, Gnar, Lee Sin, Ahri. I mean, at least you're on the Ahri chain, right? So I guess he was playing LeBlanc versus Ahri, but I mean, you're still giving like LeBlanc. This Fnatic win. I mean, you're giving Viego, and you're giving another LeBlanc, but with Jace and Renata. Renata obviously very OP over Nautilus, which is actually kind of crazy. Yeah, this is like they were so adapted because G2 at first they were playing Aphelios and stuff. Yonin, like Lee Sin, like champs, like this champ select is really bad. And then now these are on blue side, so when G2's on blue side, they play Hecarim, Aphelios, still Karma. The one game they won with Karma, Phyllis Karma, Gnar, Braum, wait. Oh, Karma mid, my bad. So this is a Karma mid game. Hecarim, Braum, Xayah. And then, like, yeah, Fnatic was playing Ornn, so they're the first ones to play Ornn. But I mean, GT still won, even though LeBlanc was played. I mean, you have Xayah was played, so I'm not sure what happened this game, but you know, just stuff like that. This series, I mean, these are against like really bad teams, so I don't really know what to say about this series. But it's really just whatever. Like, it doesn't really like include logic. And then like G2 start making the run, right? So it's G2 Vitality 3-0, Misfits, G2 versus Misfits 3-0, another 3-0, and then another 3-0. So how they go 12-0, right? I mean, blue side, G2 were blue side, and then red side. Blue side, I mean, you get Zeri, and you get Rakan, and you get the Lissandra versus LeBlanc matchup. Okay. I mean, that's all you need to know. Like, Lissandra versus LeBlanc is pretty good. And then you're going against Aphelios, Camille Zinzao. Zinzao had a 0% win rate. Bad champ. I mean, okay, you deserve to win. Now, on red side, this is G2. They first pick Jinx, Volibear, Silas, Rakan, Jax. I mean, you're playing Jax versus Camille. Oh, yeah, I remember. Because that was the time Jax legit solo killed Alfari a bunch of times. BB, Broken Blade, solo killed Camille. That was interesting to watch. And then, yeah, I mean, they played Ari, right? Yeah. Perks played Ari, but you're playing against Salas, so yeah, you just got counterpicked. Yep, Salas versus Ari, and then Philios. Philios was not. I mean, I don't know. I just think Philios takes too much skill. It's a lot easier to play Zaya. As long as not saying that's a bad champ, but I don't know. Some people can't play Philios. And then this game too. I mean, you first pick Volibear, right? But then you're picking Ari. Oh, now you have the Ari Prio. And then Jinx. Okay. And then you pick Jace early. And then Aphelios. But then you counter it with Irelia, which is... Yeah. Let's see how that goes. Because Irelia is really good versus Jace. And then... Oh, you pick a Kali. Yeah, not see, Kali is a really bad champion. You probably deserve to lose, right? So that's how that happened. Misfits G2. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, it's not here, right? Who's their mid laner? I don't know, but they play Vex. Who do you play Vex versus? Oh, LeBlanc. I mean, I'm sure Vex is actually pretty good with LeBlanc, but I don't know. Not 100% sure about that matchup. I mean, this is the game where Hewitt was actually like running it down low key, I believe. I mean, playing Nar versus Camille. Oh yeah, I think BB like solo killed him this game, and then you're playing Zaya Jarvan. So they actually like getting their draft right. I mean, you're playing Zaya Jarvan, Renata, these three, LeBlanc, these four OP champs, and then you just have a good matchup versus Camille versus Nar. I mean, Jinx, Leona. I mean, you deserve to lose, right? Same thing. I mean, you get the LeBlanc on this side, right? But then now you're playing Lissandra. So it seems like Caps always had the right pick and like the right counter pick, right? And then you play Jinx, but this guy's playing Aphelios. I mean, you're just trading like hypercarry, Tom Kench versus Rakan. Okay. I mean, it seems like. Yeah, but then it's like the top gap, right? Because I believe this game was so top gap. I mean, you have the BB Jax versus Camille again, and you already saw the last game from Vitality how bad he dumpstered him, right? But I mean, the matchup overall, team-wise, isn't that bad. But I mean, I think GT was just a better team. And then the same thing happened. Blue side is G2, so they're playing Hecarim, Jinx, Renata, Cassiopeia, Tryndamere. Oh, and then he decides to play Fiora. And this is the only game Fiora was played in, and he was so funneled because you could tell the KDA and goal percentage. He was actually very funneled. This one game he was super funneled, and then he still couldn't win because Fiora's actually like disgustingly bad champ, and you should never play Fiora and competitive. Yeah, and then Silas versus what Cassiopeia. I mean, I think it's like actually super skilled, but I mean. It's not bad because you have Silas with Hecarim, Tryndamere, but overall, I mean, they're just a better team, and I believe Tryndamere dumpstered the Fiora. I believe that game. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty disgusting series. And then like the rematch, right? Fnatic, blue side, Twisted Face first pick from the previous game. Of Fnatic versus no, not this game specifically. Oh, I don't have the game. I don't think. forgot to put the game in. Whoops. There's one more game. Yeah, there is one more game. I bet. The Rogue versus Phonetic game. Yeah, needs to be put in. My pen. See, you'll figure out if you missed some in your little project. But yeah, I remember that was a game where the reverse sweep, right? But even then, after the reverse sweep, you decided first pick TF. Alright, I mean, this guy's gonna pick Ari. And you saw what happened that game. Ari shits on TF, actually. Disgusting. And then you're playing Diana without, like, any, like, follow. Like, no one's gonna follow you. You don't have, like, another frontliner following you. Like, Jace isn't really gonna follow. Like, sure, Jinx can get the reset and, like... So, the team comp's really bad. I mean, you're playing Thresh, too. Like, Thresh is super bad. But, like, this side... I mean, you're playing Philios, which is, like... I don't know if Zyla was banned this game, but I mean Jarvan, Ari, Renato, and Ornn versus Jace. Yeah, you deserve to lose. And they play red side all games, right? So let's see how this works. Another Ornn game. Ornn versus Gragas. I mean that's not like crazy good, but I mean Ornn versus Kai'Sa, Ornn AP Kai'Sa specifically, right? Ornn versus Thresh, Ornn versus Lee Sin and Philios. Yeah, you're not gonna shred through this dude. You have no like tank killing stats, and then you still have the Ari first pick with Jarvan and Zyla this time. I mean, you have like the 4 good champs. Yeah, you deserve to win. And then Philios was first picked again with Hecarim, and then they decided to play Victor this game. So you decided to play Zyla. Sylas is pretty good with really only these three. I mean, actually, gameplay R is actually pretty good, but but Volibear is just a better champion than. Well, actually, no, they had Hecarim Prow, so pretty much the only difference, like Victor was pretty bad this meta. Honestly, I don't think you should play Victor. And Gangplank, you're playing Gangplank. Nar's not like terrible. He can contest barrels pretty decently. And then Braum, I guess like Braum Zyla kind of helps peel, but. I remember it was a close game. I think this was like the most closest game, but I think what happened next game was like I think he'll sink through or some at the end, and then like this man couldn't get the barrel off or something happened late game, but even then it's like still like drafted. And then this game I don't know, like oh, this is so hard to watch. I mean, you like even after watching every single one of these games, this guy still gets Ari first pick, right? Which is actually kind of crazy how this guy gets Ari first pick. It's actually kind of like sad. And then they decided to play Rumble versus Tryndamere. I don't know how that matchup goes, honestly. I think it's Rumble. It should be Rumble favored, right? But I'm not 100% sure, actually. But he had the counter pick, right? And he didn't. I don't think he had a chance because he knew not to pick Ornn this game, right? He knew not to pick Ornn. He picked Ornn the other 2 games, right? But yeah, you can't really pick Ornn versus Rumble. So I guess that's the deterioration because he knew he was gonna play Ornn. And then Larson is playing Lucian, but you're playing against Ari. And then since I was played for some reason versus Jarvan, yeah, I don't know. And then Misfortune was played also. So, I mean, you deserve to win, right? GTU. Rogue, they start off good with Volibear, right? But then you're picking Zyla Jarvan. This combo's disgusting. Jinx Azir. Who plays Azir? I don't know. You should not play Azir, especially like this super magic damage comp. You have Azir, Gwen, and Volibear AP with Nullis. Yeah, let's see how they punish it. I mean, Corki's pretty good versus all of them. Maybe not Gwen, but like pretty good against all of them. But you still have a front line with Ornn and Renato. So it's like front to back. I mean, you're looking at a better comp over here because they just have better damage reduction. And like, even though the Ornn versus Gwen matchup, Ornn does kind of suck versus Gwen, but I don't think it matters. I think Broken Blade was like playing it too good or something. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, Azir's questionable. It's actually kind of questionable plays here. And then this time they still get Ari first pick, right? They get Ari, and then they play, and then this guy plays TF this game also. Oh my god. Yeah, you deserve to lose. Yeah, TF was actually disgustingly bad. It's so sad. And then you play Jace versus Ornn, and then obviously, just by these two matchups, it's like bad. And no. So he was countered. Jace was countered. But I don't know. I feel like you should pick Jace last. Like, why'd you pick Braum last? You should pick Jace last, or like have your top pick last because you have rest at 5th pick. But then or like all these champions are like super good. And Trundle was like, cause he first round he had Jarvan, so he ended up picking Trundle. I don't know, man. Just it was kind of like unbelievable drafting. Thank Lord G2 never played TF. Thank Lord BB never played Jace. Like, oh my god, these chips suck. Okay. But yeah, that was just kind of explaining like how G2 kind of like did their run. Yeah, it was just good champ picks, right? And just like being on top, because you can tell like they played unique champs that no one else played, and it's obviously worked. And like in just my theory, you might not agree, but like at the highest level, like at LEC, China, Korea, I mean, it's about picking the right champs. Like the skill level is close, where like it's all about champ select. Honestly, the game is more about champ select than ever before. So you could say like, oh, it's G2, they're so skilled, right? But no, I don't think so. I think this roster is not like this roster that's like 2019 where like they're actually just better. I think they won mainly due to like actually good drafting over than like playing mechanically better or anything. Not saying they're bad players or nothing, but I think from previous G2 iterations, I mean, your coaches is better and they have more awareness to play like more things, which is good, but they're not as mechanically better than like Mickey or like Wonder or like Perks, but they play more stuff, so that's good, or Reckless, so that was kind of like the reason why they won, in my opinion. Overall, TLDR was they were more aware of the meta and they played to the meta. Unique picks like Jarvan was picked all the time, Ornn was picked all the time, Xayah was picked all the time on their side when no one was playing that, Ari, Pike, like, that's just how to explain it. And I'm trying to write a Kaggle thing, but this is just explaining it on like a YouTube video that I wanted to do. But other than that, that's it. That's just me explaining my data. I know it's a long ass video, whole man, but yeah, it's just kind of like going in depth, just talking. But yeah, if you like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Bye bye.